Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much. What if your entire life could change just by changing your thoughts? Why do some people rise from rock bottom while others stay stuck for years? The answer isn't luck or talent. It's a mindset, and it's the one thing that separates winners from everyone else. Your current situation, whatever you're facing right now, is not a coincidence. It's largely the byproduct of your thinking up to this point. And if you're not happy with where you are, there's only one way forward. You must change how you think. Winners understand this truth, not just intellectually, but deep in their bones. They know that external circumstances don't define a person. They reveal them. It's not what happens to you that shapes your destiny. It's what you choose to do about what happens to you. Years ago, I met a man whose story left a mark on me. He had lost absolutely everything in his business. His company collapsed. His home was taken by the bank. His wife walked away. He was left living in a small, dim apartment with only a few belongings and a mountain of debt weighing him down. To the outside world, he looked like a broken man. Most people would shake their heads and say, "That poor guy, life really gave him a raw deal." But when he looked me in the eye, I saw something entirely different. He had what I call the winner's mindset. Without a trace of bitterness, he said, "Jim, I'm not a victim of my circumstances. I'm a product of my decisions. And if my decisions got me into this mess, then better decisions will get me out." That right there is the first defining trait of winners. They take full and complete responsibility for their lives. They don't point fingers at the economy, the government, their upbringing, or their education. They don't wallow in blame or self-pity. Instead, they stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am responsible. And if I want to change my life, then I must change myself." It's one of the most liberating truths any human being can accept, because the moment you take ownership of your life, you reclaim your power to change it. While average people exhaust themselves looking for someone or something to blame, winners channel their energy into finding solutions. Where others cry out, "Why me?" winners ask, "How can I turn this around?" While average people obsess over the size of the problem, winners keep their eyes locked on the solution. This single shift in perspective, this deep internal commitment to a different way of thinking, is where the separation begins. It's the dividing line between those who will rise and those who will remain stuck. But make no mistake, responsibility alone isn't enough. Winners don't just stop there. They combine that responsibility with a relentless belief in their ability to figure things out, no matter what. They don't always know the answer the moment a problem appears, but they carry with them an unshakable confidence that a solution will come. This isn't arrogance. It's quiet, steady confidence built through real experience. Every obstacle they've faced in the past and conquered has strengthened their belief that they can figure things out again. Over time, I've noticed something powerful about winners. They develop what I call solution consciousness. While the average person sees a wall, winners see a riddle. When others see a dead end, winners see a challenge waiting to be unraveled. Where most people see setbacks, winners recognize setups. Opportunities for comebacks, for growth, for reinvention. This isn't just optimism. It's not about blind positivity. It's a discipline of the mind, carefully trained over time, to look past the immediate discomfort and spot the hidden lesson, the breakthrough in disguise, the personal transformation waiting just beyond the difficulty. Now let's talk about the second key trait that sets winners apart. They deeply understand the power of personal development. They don't wait for their environment to change. They know that if they want life to get better, they must become better themselves. If their circumstances need to rise, their mindset must rise first. What's truly fascinating is how relentless they are in this pursuit. Winners never stop learning. They never stop growing. They never hit a ceiling and say, "That's enough. I've spent decades around high achievers. people with wealth, impact, and influence. And there's a common thread among all of them. They're lifelong students. They read the books most people don't touch. They attend the events others ignore. They ask deep questions, engage in difficult conversations, and surround themselves with minds that challenge them. While many stop learning the day they graduate, winners treat graduation as just the beginning. School may end, but real education, self-education, never does. They understand something crucial. Formal education may help you make a living, but self-education is what builds a fortune. That's why they invest in themselves, consistently, fearlessly, and with intention, because they know their future depends on it. And here's the deeper truth. Personal development isn't just about reading books or learning new skills. It's about becoming the kind of person who can shoulder more, solve more, and rise to meet bigger, bolder opportunities. Growth is never just about success. It's about being ready for the moment success arrives. They understand a powerful truth. You can't have more in life until you become more as a person. Your external success is always limited by your internal growth. If your mindset, habits, and character don't expand, your results won't either. Your income, your influence, your achievements, they all rise or fall to the level of your personal development. This leads us to the third major trait that sets winners apart. They've mastered the art of discipline. And not just the kind where you grit your teeth and do things you despise. No, it's deeper than that. It's the discipline of consistently doing what's right, even when it's inconvenient, even when motivation is nowhere in sight. Winners know that success doesn't come from a single burst of effort. It comes from repetition. It's not what you do occasionally when you feel inspired. It's what you do day in and day out that defines your outcome. That's why discipline is more than a habit. It becomes the bridge between vision and reality, between good intentions and tangible results. Here's what winners have figured out. Discipline doesn't have to be a burden. In fact, they treat it like a close ally. Through repetition, what was once difficult becomes second nature. The hard choices, the daily habits, the uncomfortable actions, they start to flow automatically. Discipline transforms into rhythm. And with enough practice, rhythm becomes mastery. Most people see discipline as hard. And yes, in the beginning it is. But winners understand something essential that many never realize. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. The sting of doing what you must today is short-lived, but the pain of not doing it can linger for a lifetime. Discipline leads to pride. Regret leads to pain. And winners make that trade without hesitation. But here's a key point. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. Winners don't aim to be flawless. They aim to be dependable. They know that small, seemingly insignificant choices, repeated daily, create unstoppable momentum over time. That's how greatness is built. One tiny, deliberate step at a time. While success is made of a few positive actions done consistently, failure is simply a few poor choices made repeatedly. The difference? Awareness, intention, and the courage to do the right thing, even when no one's watching. Now let's move into the fourth distinction, the way winners view and use their time. For them, time is sacred. It's not just a ticking clock, it's the most precious, non-renewable resource they have. They know something many overlook. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Once this hour is gone, it's gone forever. Winners don't obsess over time, but they honor it. They're intentional. They plan their days, protect their hours, and treat every moment as an opportunity to move closer to who they want to become. They are fiercely intentional about how they use their time. Winners don't just let the day happen to them. They take charge. They prioritize the tasks that truly matter and fiercely protect their time from distractions, energy drainers, and people who pull them away from their purpose. They recognize the critical difference between being busy and being productive. You've seen it before. busy people rush through full calendars, juggling back-to-back tasks, yet somehow still feel unfulfilled. Productive people, on the other hand, design their days around impact. They build full bank accounts and live lives of meaning and purpose. Average people, they kill time. They spend it carelessly. But winners? Winners invest time wisely. They manage it with clarity, purpose, and direction. While most people waste hours on things that don't move the needle, endless scrolling, mindless entertainment, unimportant tasks, winners consciously focus their attention on what gets them closer to their goals. It's not random. It's deliberate. And this ability to manage time with intention is one of the clearest indicators of someone who is destined for success. But there's more. Winners also understand the importance of timing itself. They understand seasons, not just in nature, but in life. They know when it's time to plant and when it's time to harvest, when it's time to grind and when it's time to recover, when it's time to absorb knowledge and when it's time to apply it. They don't expect results in the middle of planting season, and they don't take breaks during harvest. This deep respect for the natural rhythms of effort and reward allows them to work with time, not against it. It keeps them aligned and consistent, never rushing the process, never avoiding the work. Next comes the fifth trait that separates winners: their approach to relationships and influence. Winners understand something essential. Success is never a solo mission. They know that the people closest to you shape who you become. That's why they carefully choose their inner circle. They surround themselves with people who challenge them, support them, and call them higher. You've probably heard the saying, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Winners take that to heart. They actively seek out mentors, coaches, and wise advisors who can offer perspective, catch their blind spots, and help fast-track their growth. And here's what's even more impressive. Winners aren't too proud to ask for guidance. They don't let ego get in the way. They recognize that learning from someone else's experience can save them years of unnecessary struggle. Wisdom borrowed is wisdom earned faster. But they don't just take, they give back too. Winners understand that influence is a two-way street. As they're being mentored, they're also mentoring. As they're learning, they're also teaching. They view it as their responsibility to lift others up, to pass on what they've learned, and to set an example worth following. Winners are also exceptional communicators. They've developed the ability to express their thoughts clearly, connect with others authentically, and move people with their words. They don't just speak, they inspire. They know how to paint a vision that others want to be part of, how to build trust, and how to bring people together around a shared mission. Why does this matter so much? Because leadership isn't just about doing great things. It's about inspiring others to do great things too. Winners understand that influence is leadership, and leadership is influence. Their success isn't determined only by what they can personally accomplish, but by what they can encourage, empower, and elevate others to accomplish alongside them. That's real power, the ability to multiply your impact through the people around you. Now, let's talk about the sixth trait that sets winners apart: their approach to goal setting. Winners don't just make vague resolutions. They create clear, compelling targets that pull them forward with purpose. They treat goals like magnets, specific and strategic, designed to direct their energy, not just scatter it. They don't say, "I want to be successful." That's too vague to drive real change. Instead, they say things like, "I want to grow my income by 50% in the next 18 months by building 3 new income streams." Or, "I will lose 20 pounds and run a half marathon within 6 months." These goals are precise. They're measurable. They come with deadlines. That level of clarity fuels action. But what truly sets winners apart from ordinary goal setters is how they view the purpose of goals. For them, the true value of a goal isn't just achieving it. It's who they become in the process. Goals aren't just about acquiring things. They're about transforming into someone greater. The trophy is nice, sure, But the growth, the transformation, the discipline it took to get there, that's the real prize. Winners also know that motivation must come from within. That's why they develop reasons that are bigger than their excuses. They understand that their why has to be stronger than any obstacle. When your purpose is powerful enough, you'll always find a way. When your vision is clear enough, the discipline follows naturally. When your goal matters deeply, you'll carve out the time, no matter how busy life gets. And this leads us into the seventh distinction: their attitude toward failure and setbacks. While average people see failure as a sign to give up, winners see it as information. They treat failure like feedback, not a stop sign, but a course correction. Where most people see failure as the end, winners see it as a lesson. Where others see loss, winners see leverage. They don't view failure as the opposite of success. They understand it's an essential part of it. Because truthfully, there are lessons you can only learn when things don't go your way. Lessons that success will never teach you. That's why winners never fear failure. They respect it. Failure teaches resilience, persistence, creativity, and humility. 4 traits that aren't optional if you want to stay successful for the long haul. These aren't just nice character traits. They're essential tools that winners sharpen every time they fall short and choose to rise again. One thing I've learned from experience: failure isn't something you should try to dodge. It's something you learn to navigate. Winners don't run from failure. They run through it. They aim to fail fast, fail cheap, and fail forward. Why? Because they know the sooner they fail, the quicker they can learn. The less it costs them, the more risks they can afford to take. And when each failure moves them closer to success, the pain of the setback becomes part of the progress. They've mastered the art of learning through failure without being defined by it. They know there's a critical difference between failing and being a failure. Failing is a single event. It's temporary. Being a failure? That's an identity, and winners refuse to wear that label. When something doesn't work out, they don't internalize it. They separate their performance from their personal worth, their current results from their long-term potential. And that mindset leads to another key distinction: their understanding of value creation. Winners know that success, especially in today's world, flows directly to those who create the most value. They don't wait for recognition. They earn it. They don't demand rewards. They generate them. They've internalized a truth that most people overlook. If you want more, become more valuable. Whether in business, career, or relationships, they constantly ask themselves, how can I serve better? How can I solve more meaningful problems? How can I increase my contribution to others? Winners understand that their income is a direct reflection of the value they bring to the marketplace. And that value is directly tied to their problem-solving abilities and how effectively they serve others. This mindset shifts how they approach their work. They don't view their job as an obligation. They see it as a platform to grow, to serve, to contribute. They're not chasing a paycheck. The paycheck in their eyes is simply feedback. It reflects how well they've solved problems, how deeply they've served, and how much value they've created. In a free market economy, this principle is as real as gravity. You get paid in proportion to the size of the problems you solve and the number of people you help. Solve small problems for a few people, get paid small. Solve big problems for a lot of people, get paid big. It's not magic, it's math. And that leads us to the 9th trait of true winners. They think long-term. Winners think in decades, while most people think in days. While others chase quick wins and instant gratification, winners make intentional sacrifices in the short term for long-term rewards. They understand that what's urgent isn't always what's important, and they consistently prioritize what truly moves the needle over what simply screams for attention. They're willing to do today what most people won't, so they can enjoy tomorrow what most people can't. That's the mindset. They know that success doesn't come with a shortcut or an easy button. There are no magic formulas, no overnight miracles. The truth is simple and unglamorous. Success is built through consistent action, repeated daily, and paid for in full, always in advance. And it's that long-term thinking that allows winners to stay grounded when life gets turbulent. When plans fall apart or results don't show up right away, they don't panic or quit. Why? Because they never expected the road to be smooth. They've trained their minds to expect twists and turns, highs and lows, momentum and setbacks. Instead of getting discouraged by daily fluctuations, they zoom out and measure their growth over months, even years. Winners also understand a powerful force most people overlook: the law of compounding, not just in money, but in mindset, health, habits, and relationships. They've discovered that small, smart actions done consistently will snowball into massive transformation. They don't obsess over the next breakthrough. Instead, they patiently build it, one day, one decision, one improvement at a time. And that brings us to what might be the most defining trait of all. Winners live with a sense of personal mission and meaning. They're not just chasing a paycheck, they're chasing purpose. They're not just climbing the ladder of success. They're asking whether the ladder is leaning on the right wall. Winners understand that fulfillment doesn't come from what you accumulate, but from who you become and what you give back. Their lives are fueled by a deep why, a purpose that gives their work meaning, their struggles significance, and their victories substance. This sense of mission isn't just motivational, it's directional. It acts as a compass, pointing them toward decisions that align with their values, their goals, and the legacy they want to leave behind. It's this inner fire, this clarity of purpose, that gives them the strength to keep going when the path gets hard, the motivation to rise again after failure, and the resilience to keep growing when it would be easier to settle. When new opportunities present themselves, winners don't just jump in blindly. They pause and ask a powerful question. Does this align with my mission? They measure every potential path against their deeper purpose. And when challenges appear, and they always do, they shift their mindset and ask, how can this obstacle help me fulfill my purpose? Even in setbacks, they look for the lesson, wondering, what is this trying to teach me that's essential for my journey ahead? Because for winners, life isn't just about building wealth or climbing a social ladder. It's not about applause or accolades. It's about growth. It's about becoming the highest, truest version of themselves. They understand that the real measure of a life well lived is not in how much you accumulate, but in how deeply you contribute. They believe that using their time, talent, and energy to positively impact others is where true fulfillment lies. They know deep down that success without significance feels empty, and achievement without purpose leaves you hollow. That's why they never chase goals blindly. They pursue them with intention, with values, and with meaning at the core. Now, let me bring all of these distinctions together with one fundamental truth that drives it all. Mindset is everything. Your mindset is the control panel of your life. It shapes your decisions. Those decisions drive your actions. Your actions create your outcomes. And those outcomes determine your ultimate destiny. The most empowering part? You control your mindset. You may not be able to control the global economy, but you can absolutely control how you respond to economic changes. You may not be able to change how other people behave, but you can always control how you react to them. You may not have power over every circumstance, but you do have power over your attitude in the midst of it. That's what separates winners from everyone else. They've trained themselves to focus on solutions instead of problems. They shift their attention from limitations to possibilities. They reframe setbacks as stepping stones, and they rewire their thinking to support their goals, not sabotage them. Developing a winner's mindset isn't about ignoring reality. It's not about pretending problems don't exist or that challenges are easy. It's about standing tall in the face of adversity and choosing to respond with clarity, strength, and purpose. It's about facing difficulty not with fear, but with determination. And that, more than anything else, is what sets winners apart. Winners choose confidence over fear, and they choose possibility over limitation. That doesn't mean they deny reality. On the contrary, they fully acknowledge what is, but they refuse to accept it as permanent. They understand something powerful. Your current situation is not your final destination. The conditions you're living in today are not set in stone. Where you are is just a starting point, not a sentence. They carry a deep belief that life can improve, that growth is possible, and that change is always within reach. This sense of possibility fuels their desire for continual progress and pushes them toward becoming more every day. But there's another trait that defines a winner's mindset, and that's gratitude. True winners don't just hustle blindly for the next big thing. They're deeply thankful for what they already have. They can pursue more without falling into bitterness. They know how to appreciate the present while reaching for the future. Gratitude grounds them. It reminds them of their blessings, gives them emotional resilience, and renews their strength. It keeps their hearts full even when their hands are still building. And here's something powerful. Grateful people tend to be happier, and happy people are more inspired, more energetic, and more magnetic. People naturally gravitate toward that energy. Winners also never lose their curiosity. They maintain what's called a learner's mindset. They're always asking, always exploring, always seeking to understand more. They don't assume they've arrived, because they know that the moment you believe you know it all is the very moment you stop growing, and the moment you stop growing, you begin to stagnate. In this ever-changing world, winners have learned how to learn. They've mastered the art of adapting. Learning, unlearning, and relearning is needed. And that skill, that flexibility of thought, that willingness to evolve, is far more valuable than any fixed knowledge or technical ability. They stay relevant because they stay curious. They remain influential because they remain coachable. As I bring this message to a close, let me leave you with one lasting thought. The mindset that separates winners from the rest is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a choice you make day after day through small disciplines, courageous decisions, and intentional growth. So the question now is, what will you choose? It's not a gift. It's not about being lucky or born special. The mindset that separates winners is something you develop through deliberate practice. It's not inherited, it's learned. And if something can be learned, it can be taught. That means you could develop it too. The real question isn't can you build a winner's mindset? It's will you? Will you stop pointing fingers and start taking full ownership of your life? Will you commit to growing yourself every single day, even when it's uncomfortable? Will you discipline yourself to do what needs to be done, especially when it's inconvenient or hard? Will you stop treating time like it's endless and start managing it like the rare resource it truly is? Will you surround yourself with people who lift you higher, who challenge you to be better, who see the greatness in you? Will you set bold, specific goals and pursue them with relentless energy and clarity? Will you learn to see failure not as defeat, but as feedback, a stepping stone that's guiding you to your next breakthrough? Will you focus not just on what you can get, but on the value you can create? Will you make decisions today based on who you want to become 5 or 10 years from now, not just based on what feels good in the moment? Will you identify your mission, your reason for being, and chase it with intention, drive, and heart? These choices, these daily decisions, are what separate winners from the rest. They are what draw the line between a life of regret and a life of reward, between surviving and thriving, between mediocrity and magnificence. Remember this: success doesn't randomly happen to people. It's not a matter of luck or chance. Success happens because of the person you become. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity to fall into your lap. It's about being the right kind of person when opportunity knocks. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need a powerful mindset and the courage to act on it. And that mindset, the mindset that separates winners, is not reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone who is willing to think differently, act boldly, and live intentionally. So the truth is simple. Your future is not determined by your past. It's shaped by your mindset and your choices from this moment forward. The road to success has already been paved by those who came before you. Now it's your turn to walk it. The only question left is, will you? Will you rise above your excuses, step into your potential, and live each day with a mindset that separates winners? If you're ready to become that person, if you're ready to choose growth, discipline, and purpose, then today is the day to begin. Thank you for watching. Wishing you strength, happiness, and lasting success. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more life-changing content.